Mm. Hey, welcome to Thursday Live with Kristel. And ask myself, what would I share about today? Should I talk about oracle cards, crystals? And I said, well, the purpose of my life, um, when I have guests, is to be in the moment of the conversation. I already know more or less their background. But for me, when I am on my own sharing with you guys, what am I what am I being brought up? What is coming up for me to share? And it's the question is, do I go very vulnerable? And so what I'm going to do is invite you before we start, because I have several topics that I could share. And in this particular container right now, in the moment, I ask you to take a deep breath with me into your heart. And I do command for this broadcasting to be timeless. Wherever it reaches you, that's when it's meant. And as I center myself in my heart, I want to verbally state, when I bring breath into my heart, is to expand the love, the spark of God that's within me to grow and expand from imagining a small little particle that expands and expands, which is that divine innocent like innocence of a child, the happy, the abundance, the bliss within. And I'm very much of a visual. A lot of my clears are open, meaning let me hear, okay, this is what I need to do, or I may sense it, or I may just know. So a lot of my clears are open, but I definitely have uh, developed clear a visual, very much see. So when I center myself into my heart, I feel, can hear it also with the words. I feel the expansion without, and so my heart, I feel it. When I bring the energy into my feet to ground into the earth, the center of the heart of Mother Gaia for her highest version of love, because this is what's keeping me in gravity, centered, then that becomes more of a visual, clairvoyance. And then I bring the energy back into my feet to center myself into that divine presence, bring all the way up to the heavens. I'm asking to connect to the highest, and my crown chakra opens even broader. Bring this energy back into the heart. I do know people at times feel comfortable by saying the energy. They think more of the divine presence, God, Jesus, archangels, and figures that were expressed in our upbringing, and energy to me encompasses the presence of omnipresence, the presence, the moment, the feel of the divine, because I have built an intimate relationship one-on-one relationship with that divine presence, for you to develop that in a way that resonates. How do you know it resonates? It feels yummy, it feels great, and it is for the greatest good of you and all. Because you could feel like, hey, this feels great. Like I eat ice cream, it feels great, but it's not for my greatest good. It doesn't expand me. It does contract in other parts. So you do know the distinction when it expands from a way of bringing a love, not just love selfish in that way, but love that expands and reciprocates and feels like it's an infinite exchange that's distinctive from, oh, it feels good to me. Who cares about others? That's not what I'm referring to. Okay. Now, in the centering, my question is, what is it for me to share? What do I get to communicate, broadcast from my divine throat chakra and the divine intelligence, God's presence? What is the message? I do have something that's happening in my life right now. It's been happening for a while, but specifically as a soon decision to be made. And I want to make sure, this is why I'm hesitant. Is it something I get to broadcast now, to share from the place of, yeah. So I'm going to share from the place of, we all have something that we're experiencing, that we're going through. It could be a physical, it could be emotional. You don't see it, but you know emotionally, and it might impact you physically. So I'm going to speak specifically right now. I'm just going to get through straight to the heart of it, to a fibroid. So I do have a fibroid, and I've had this fibroid who knows how long, but I've been diagnosed with it for now about a year and just a little bit less than a year and a half. And it's because of who I am. I've had when I say who I am, like I really consciously think so much about just go ahead and remove it. So being told by doctors, go ahead and just remove it. But yesterday, in sitting with it was an exchange of connecting myself with that part of me, which is my uterus. It could be your heart. It could be you're diabetic. It could be anything that you are going through, connecting with that part of it and having almost like a conversation. For me, was also placing my hands on my lower belly and asking, what do you feel? What's happening to my uterus when the fibroid is acting up, when there's still bleeding? And I got teary because I heard back, I don't know how painful it is every time it's fully activated. And I got into my head and my heart. I've just been thinking of me as Kristel, how it's impacting me my day to day, because it takes about a week out of my month to actually build myself back up because of the amount of bleeding and all that stuff. But the actual organ, which I believe the uterus is more of a muscle, but that actual part of it, the uterus, because it has a name, it's a uterus. How is that actually feeling for my uterus? Not just me and everything, because uterus is part of me, that's true, but a consciousness of my uterus. And I felt grief. I felt sadness. I felt like, wow, I've just been thinking about how it makes me feel, which, it might sound weird, but if I speak to that part of me, how is that part responding? So I had a conversation with my uterus, an internal conversation, which honestly, I encourage you to actually maybe even say it loud, like, hey, uterus, hey, breast, because maybe you have a breast cancer or breast lump or something, or whatever it might be. What do you want me to know? What is it you're experiencing? Because it's going deeper than just your mental of what the doctors would say. It means physically, what is the energy behind the uterus, but also the fibroid. Now, I did take the time with the uterus and had that conversation, that exchange, and it brought a different perspective that I wasn't in tune with until I took that time. Then it's like I should have a conversation with an exchange, right? It's really sitting with it, see what comes up with the fibroid. And I had already done some work on my fibroid, energy work, also physical work, which is medication injections to help with me not bleeding for a period of time to potentially induce menopause. But it did not really happen because my cycle started back. So I'm not in menopause. Um, for the fibroid to shrink, it has to, the feeding of the blood needs to stop. Then it will actually dry out. That's why they say when you get in menopause, because you're no longer going your cycle, then it actually dries out because it's no longer fed, right? What is feeding the fibroid is the blood going into it. So there are different modalities. A lot of times they say, hey, just um, um, get it all removed or remove the ovary, like all that. I'm like, it's just so simple to say, just remove all of it. What happens when that area is removed? What happens to the rest of my organs? To me, it's a little more complex than just get it done. Not right or wrong. I do, I won't gonna say overthink, but I do think and process through things. It does feel much easier to just go and get it removed because then I get my life back, as they say. But I'm like, but everything has a cause and effect. And I want to be not at just the effect of my decision, but I want to be at the cause of like, hey, I am making this with a decision. I'm making this decision, but with an understanding or feeling based on right now what not only would it impact me, but the journey. Because this is an opportunity for me to have a conversation with the root cause of why did it start with me having a fibroid. There's Louise Hay talks about the physical manifestation of things. You can just Google it and say, hey, I have this illness, or I have this, I have eye problems. Like there is a potential interpretation. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, let it go. But very often it opens to ha. So why don't we just do that right now? Give me a second. I'm just gonna go. I remember what it said and I had looked it up, and I want to use the right terminology. Specifically, she said, but it was really about um going into the egoistic part of the breakup with a relationship. Second. Something's not doing in my classes. Um, Emotional and mental causes of illness. So give me a second as I get to F. Fibroid. Nursing a hurt from a partner. A blow to the feminine ego. So I had already read that information last year when I was doing the energy work healing on it. And yes, it really activated when I was in Sedona, which was part of when I broke up with my person that I would say really touched a part of my heart. Uh, and it got activated then. So it was interesting. I'm not saying that relationship created the fibroid, but it was interesting timing. So then I took time even deeper to heal, forgive, go through the process of all of the emotional attachments that I had with this partner. But it wasn't so much just a partner. It was the love that I experienced in that relationship that was shattered that I also had to heal. So that doesn't mean, obviously, because it's a year later, my fibroid is still activated. So sometimes the physical aspect of it may not fully heal because it's right there. And another thing that I am guilty of doing, this little coffee here has milk. Estrogen is also definitely not what I should be drinking. It does have milk. So the the person in me also is like, Kristel, you know you shouldn't be drinking this because it does have milk. I'm not saying it is what creates it. It's all of those different, right? Those layers. So it's finding the strength, the courage, I've got to go ahead and do for me the fasting of all dairy. And I love cheese. So right now, in the state that I'm in, not just a fibro, but everything else that I have, I'm like, I can't let go of my favorite meal. Not my favorite meal, one of them. Cheese, dairy. So I've tried to change from dairy milk to goat cheese and things of that nature. The bottom line is there are still other things that I'm consciously guilty of doing that may have healed my fibroids sooner. I also have culturally, family have healed the fibroid using clay. And because I was taking iron, I didn't really want to take clay because clay does clear a lot of the minerals are inside the body. We got to be careful. I said minerals, specific items like it's like a magnet that pulls out what we ingest. So we got to be careful. And because I had to take all this, I really avoided it until recently I started the placing clay on the belly. Another one is castor oil that they say to rub on the belly and to put on the belly button. So there are different ways. There are prayers. My brother even gave me one to stop the bleeding. So it does require a courage, a strength as a human to align with doing all of those things. And I haven't fully fulfilled on that. I've actually failed on some of them, like I said, the dairy, consciously. And I'm still right there. Isn't that crazy? But it's that battle at times of the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, all of it that encompass, like, hey, what am I going to do? Plus, that doesn't mean 100% that if I stop the estrogen, it's going to be gone. But I should consciously take those steps. So I'm saying all that to say, there are different layers of an illness that we take an approach with. And sometimes done that, of course, not of course, but I have a headache. There's something happening in the body that or the environment is triggering that headache. It could be dehydration. But because I got to get back to this work that I got to do, the job, I may pop a pill, an Advil or ibuprofen or whatever else to help society to bring up. So sometimes we look for that short term versus, hey, is it my spleen that needs to be flushed? Is it my liver? Is it, there are different parts. So there are different energetic ways to see at what time in the day am I feeling more activated or down, like feeling when I say activated, like, oh, it flares up, or I just feel lower energy. Because there are ways to see, okay, this is impacted by the gallbladder, this is impacted by different meridians in the body, and you can basically heal this. Now, I'm not coming here saying I have healed a fibroid using a modality because I'm still working through it. And sometimes we have to almost go lower down in the painful part of it before something really triggers a human, what we know we can do, but what we actually do. So there's a distinction, like there's that gap between what I know I'm supposed to do and what I'm actually doing. It's a little bit of the human conditioning. So there are points also in the body to, I don't remember which one I was doing, but I looked, and it was mostly when I had really flares of 30 days of just bleeding. Pressure points in the body. Okay, I'm not coming here to teach what exactly, I'm just opening and placing a seed. When you are going, we are going, when I'm going through something that is impacting me, I look in the mirror and say, what could I do differently? What energy, what is the source? What is the root cause? So one additional that I will add, the prayer, affirmative prayer, God, thank you, thank you, thank you for placing the right messages, the right people, your word in me, your guidance, the medical team to be in the room that is best for me, treatment for me. So praying ahead of any treatment, pray over any medication to remove any negative effects and only leave the part. So you place your hands on the medication, for instance, right? It's setting that intention, setting that goal. So this conversation is not about the fibroid. That is one thing I'm going through, but it's where in your life are you experiencing the dis-ease, a body that's not at ease, an emotional, a painful thing, or something that just needs to be looked at, right? Something that needs to be addressed. You find those out when you take time, quietness. Quietness doesn't mean just sitting in meditation like, could be a walk, right? An intentional walk. What do I need to address? What does my body need? Talking to our body. There have been studies where you take plants and you can practice that plant or water and you speak love, where I get to now shift into, instead of avoidance, like that disease, that pus that's inside of me, that fibroid that is pretty big. It's actually, I don't know what 7 centimeters is, but it's pretty large. Let's say it's the size of a grape. Instead of, oh God, this thing inside of me. Thank you for showing me where I need to bring love. Thank you for showing me where what was it again? The egoistic part of it, of a fibroid, nursing a hurt, where I was nursing a hurt from past relationship, was probably not just that one relationship, it's the hurt from a parents divorcing and a father, how he was and not, husband, boyfriend, all of those, right? It's not about them. They were only players in the game, but it's how I responded, how I acted. I nursed that relationship of such a hurt, right? So letting go, surrendering, bringing that to um, the light and say, heal this fibroid, the energy, the emotion, the attachment, any of it that is connected to how my fibroid. And as I say that, this is weird, but as I say that, I do feel like little pokes, like I was thinking of a pen poking at me inside my uterus area. Um, and that's different part of sensitivity that I have, that you may also have. Start being in tune with your gifts. The gift is the sensitivity. I had somebody in a coaching call recently say, I'm super sensitive, and it's sometimes the hard part or the difficult part. I've learned to embrace my sensitivity as being my gift. That sensitivity, it's not sensitive, I'm just crying easy to cry. No, it's not about that. It's I feel it. I want to hold it all the time, because some of it, it's just an awareness, and now you move forward. Not to delete the, what's the word? That it just takes you away from what you need to take care of. This is feeling and having the awareness. Increase your awareness. I'm going to conclude with the prayer, the desire, the intention. Affirmative prayer. May I actually want to start with thank you, thank you, thank you for the fibroid, the uterus, all parts of my bodies for all their functioning, all that they've done from the time that I started my cycle early on to who I am today. Thank you for this journey. I am sorry I did not pay closer attention before. I'm sorry I did not have the awareness. I'm sorry that I drink dairy. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for my actions. I love you. I love the awareness you bring in. This is it's called the Ho'oponopono that I just did. So that's like a prayer of healing and forgiveness. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. You can go on YouTube and you can look that up and just do 108 times of repeating that, focusing on whatever the situation is. It could be a relationship, it could be a physical aspect of it. I'm also hearing from the collective, yeah, but why are you talking about if you haven't healed your fibroid yet? Talking about it because I've used those tools and modalities in different aspects of my life, and I know they work. This fibroid is actually a bigger opportunity, possibility of having a relationship with what's happening in me. So it's happening for me to look closer, for me to share with you, right? There are also, you can go on YouTube. I'm not saying YouTube is the answer for the best frequency of sound, but there are different sounds to actually speak to that second chakra. You can think of color, bright orange. It's just the color of the second chakra. Wholeness, expansion, right? Bring the frequency of 528 to 432 Hz while you're actually bringing love to that area of your body. So this is all an invitation to look what aligns best for you. What may work for you, for me, may be different for you, because the root cause of mine may be slight difference that needs a different attention. Attune to, let me practice this. Take time for it. Thank you for letting me share. Vulnerably. Something that I'm dealing with, something that gives me an opportunity to go deeper in my practices. I can also test for an emotion that's attached to the fibroid. And I have been doing some work and it has actually improved, went from a 9 centimeters to 7. So it is progressing, and sometimes it takes longer when you do the energy work versus just take it out because no work was done. The root cause is still potentially there. Okay. Again, thank you. I'm trusting this information is bringing new possibility, planting a seed, something to look into for yourself. And if not, it's okay. Let's move on. Thank you so much. Have a great